Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have my first Archetype overview for Battle Spirit Saga. It is with the Star Dragons that we got some support with the first starter deck, Dragon Onslaught, and we're getting a good amount of support as well from the first set, Dawn of History. So it's a pretty popular archetype, at least it's like one of the flagship kind of, like you'll see this on a lot of advertising kind of stuff. So it's an archetype that they want you to know about, and I think it's a really good way to get into this game too. It's a pretty straightforward deck. Doesn't have a lot of kind of triggers or combos. They're pretty straightforward, and if you get one or two of starter deck 1 and you get a couple packs of the first set, I think you can make a pretty straightforward deck in a lot of ways. So we're going to go over the cards for the archetype specifically, and then we're going to have an example deck list at the end to kind of go over it. So let's go over the cards, and normally we kind of start with the low end going high, but we're going to start with the high end just because this kind of ties again like what your play style for this deck should be. So we have the Supernova Dragon Siegwurm Nova. It has this effect that says ascend, it costs 6 or more. As an additional cost of summoning this, you may place all cores from your spirit that cost 6 or more into your reserve, which just means that it is a little tricky to get this guy out. You have to have something already out on the board, which can be tricky, but right now there's not a lot of destruction in this game. So if you play a 6 cost, your opponent's gonna have to really kind of do something to try to get rid of it. It has Awaken, which we'll talk about a little bit, and then also when summoned, when you perform Ascend using a spirit with Siegwurm in its card name, you place your soul core into the void. If you do, place cores from the void into life until you have 5 life. So being able to reset your life is very strong, especially in a game where those life, if you take damage, they represent more cores that you can use to pay for costs and stuff, which is great. And then also when the spirit attacks, select any number of your opponent's spirits with a combined cost of 10k BP or less and destroy them. So being able to use this effect to get rid of a lot of cards on board, like this can clear a board of yellow pretty easily, and it's only for 3 cores in this, and you're going to have 1 core for summoning it, and when you get like rid of a level 6 6 cost, you'd be able to get the core from that afterwards. So you really just need like 1 flex core at the end to get that level 2 for the 3 cores for it. It's very easy to do. It's a monster of a card in a lot of ways. So we have that, and we have pretty much we're going to talk about all the 6 cost or more to kind of get into this. But essentially, these are the only Siegwurms in the game right now. So you could ascend into another level, 6 cost, and then do a second Dragon Siegwurm Nova with itself to get the 1 summoning to refresh essentially all of your life. But that's a little costly, but I think it still will happen. And obviously you can only use that effect once because you only have 1 soul core. But and there's no doubt going to be a way that potentially get it back just because of how flavor text it is about that. So anyways, so this is the Imperial Thunder Dragon Siegwurm. It's pretty basic. It's from the first starter deck. It has Confront, which is pretty nice. It's a good removal card, especially for something with as much BP as this has for a level 1, which is 4k. And then also for level 3, which is 5 cores, which is quite a lot. All your spirits with Awaken gain Confront. So being able to use Confront on your other guys for additional removal is great. So it's an okay card, nothing too flashy. I think the fact that it's Siegwurm means you have to play it in this deck, and that's kind of it. So these are the only Siegwurms, but let's go to the other level or 6 cost spirits in the game. They all happen to be Star Dragons, at least the red ones. So there's like one more. Well, it's not archetype. It'd be very tricky for this deck to come out, but these are the main ones. Trust me, these are the main ones we'd want to use. We have Nebula Dragon Andromeda, which is the flashy boss monster from the starter deck. My favorite of these 3, honestly, just because it does kind of get immediate value when you play it. And if you have the idea of like you just have to play this card and then you have to get rid of it, this is probably the best case scenario for it. So it's for 1 summoned on 1, 2, or 3, select one of your opponent's spirits with 3k or fewer BP or one of their nexuses and destroy it. And I think Nexus destruction is something that red has a lot of, and I think it's underutilized in a lot of deck lists. It's very strong. I think being able to, in this game where there's not a lot of card draw inherently, go 1 for 1, like 1 for 2 for something, which this card can do pretty easily. There's a lot of strength in that, and a lot of when people play this game, at least right now, they feel like their nexuses are just there forever once they play them, and so being able to use this to get rid of it is very strong in a lot of ways. So I like that idea for it. It also has confront at level 3, which is nice, but again, 5 cores on this is probably asking a lot, but it might happen once or twice. We also have Nebula Dragon, which is a starter. All these are Striker dragons. That shouldn't be too surprising. But when the Spirit attacks as a level 2, count the Spirit symbol as 2 red symbols if it has a Soul Core on it. So it doesn't really help for cost reduction. At least it can help, I guess, for spells and magic and stuff. But with this one, you can't. It just means you get to do 2 damage with this if you have the Soul Core on it. So that's kind of nice, being able to do that, since it will have 2 red symbols. And that's really it. It's kind of flashy, but I don't personally like it. If it could help you with the cost reduction of your 8-drop, maybe, but it's fine. It's not my favorite, but maybe it could be something good later. And obviously, like once the Soul Core is removed, if you play your 8-drop, this is just a big vanilla. So, and then also we have Divine Mars Dragon Ares Dragoon, which I do like the fact that it does have 4 cost reductions, which means it is a little bit easier to get this one out compared to the other ones. But it has Awaken, which is, again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then also when the Spirit attacks, when this battle ends, once per turn, you refresh all of your spirits with Awaken, which could be good with something like both of these will essentially have Awaken because the 6-drop gives it to itself at level 3. And then also the 8-drop also has Awaken, so you could attack and then refresh it and then attack again. And this game does not like once per turn. So the when the Spirit attacks is not a once per turn, which means you can destroy 20k or fewer BP over 2 10k bursts. So that's like a super duper board clear in a lot of situations. So I think that's just like overkill though most of the time. It's not. You have to have 6 cores on this, and so it's what it is. But like I think this is like better for like an Awaken centric archetype, and that's about it. You can get to 6 cores on this a little bit easier though, because you can like use the flash on your Awaken to move the cores over, and that does help. So that's something. But anyways, Awaken, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. We have these other 2 Star Dragons with it. We have White Hole Dragon, which is just fine for what it is. I do like it has Awaken, and in general, like I haven't really found a lot of need to use the actual card, like the actual skill of Awaken. Most of the time, it's kind of just like a trait with like a little bonus effect. But most of the time, like you don't get a lot of benefit right now. I've seen from moving the cores around. Sometimes it can come up, but traditionally I don't really see it yet. And we don't have a lot of. We just see kind of more effects that interact with it. But when destroyed, it has this level 3. Select one of your opponent's spirits with a BP equal to or fewer to then this one and destroy it. And my only issue with this is that like it's a level 3 destroyed, which means it's going to have 6k BP, which means it's going to be actually kind of hard to destroy this. And it only has like 1 reduction for the cost, and I don't know. It's just like a weird effect where like sure you could do that, but it depends on your opponent having like a big boss monster swing in, and then it just destroys something that's like a 6k itself. So it will never like destroy the thing that attacks into it, which is really weird. So I don't like it that much. Moonbow Dragoon I think is just better, and it's still not super great, but it does have 3 reductions and it's a 4 cost. So the fact that you can play this out for pretty cheap is nice for that. But yeah, again, like Awaken, I don't find a lot of use, but it's just a trait. If you look at it as a trait instead of like a skill that you need, there are some like cool little benefits you get for it. Then these are the support Star Dragons, and these honestly like are actually the good cards in this deck. These are what you want to play and find because they actually support what your play style is. So Divine Halberd Dragon Arc, neither player's life can be reduced by attack from a spirit that has 2,000 or fewer BP. This is all 3 levels, so just kind of nice because we do need to kind of set up a lot of this to get into our bigger Star Dragons. So being able to have some time and buy some times from like a lot of aggro decks is really good. Also, the when the spirit attacks, which is pretty easy to get to, select your opponents with 2k or fewer BP and destroy it. So being able to get that like cheap removal too can be nice. And in this game too, since you're not as afraid to attack with things and leave them exposed to kind of get like attacked afterwards, It's just a good card in that, and I like. And most of our cards are going to have more than 2k BP anyways, so it just means like we're not affected by it as well. So, and it's just like a cheap guy. It's a 3 cost spirit with 2 reduction, so that's great. And then there's Galaxy Dragon, Andromedose. This one's probably the better of the two, but just from the kind of consistency it gets with effects. When you summon a Star Dragon spirit card, count each symbol on the spirit as 2 symbols when calculating cost reduction, which just means that's just really good. It's being able to help you get that more reduction for less, which is good. And also has a great when the spirit attacks, reveal top 3, add 1 Star Dragon spirit card from the reveal, return the remaining cards to the bottom of your deck in any order. So it helps you find a Star Dragon, and then it reduces the cost when you play it on the next turn. So both those seem pretty good, at least where we're at in the game right now. Both of these, in any deck that you run Star Dragons, you probably run 4 of. Vanilla Star Dragons, I actually think most of these are pretty good. Rain Needle, generically, is just your free Star Dragon anyways. So, like, you just play this for 1 course. Sometimes if you just need 1 more swing for free, this is it. Quicksand Dragon, this is actually pretty nice too. It's having it be a 5k with 3 just means like you can have these out with pretty good defense. And again, like sometimes you just need to have a lot of Star Dragons out on board. So both of these being very cheap help you get there. Phobos Dragoon is okay. Honestly, if this was a 6 cost with its stats adjusted for that, I would really consider playing 1 or 2. Just for the fact, like, I don't really need my 6 costs to be really flashy for my Nova's effect because they're just going to go away anyways. So just to get something out for cheap is better than like having like a good like on-field effect because it's going to go away anyways. So, but it's not. It's a 5. So I think this is just not needed as much. But if you want like a vanilla, since everything has a blocker in this game, like vanillas are still okay, at least this early in the game. I'm sure these will be phased out, though, if we get more kind of relevant Star Dragons with effects. So, and then for the Nexuses, we have 2 that just inherently say there's better ones for the Archetype, like just in red in general, but I want to mention the ones that are strictly for Star Dragons. So, where Stars Are Born, it's a 3 cost Nexus. Reveal top card of your deck for each Star Dragon spirit you control. Add 1 red spirit among them. Put the rest at the bottom of your deck. So, this is kind of okay. Like, the only thing about Nexuses in my mind is when I play the game, like you want to play a Nexus that you can play like early game, so then you can just continually get the cost reduction for the rest of the game, right? And this one you kind of have to play like mid game when you already have a board established, and then it doesn't kind of help you establish a board. So I have mixed feelings about it. The fact that you do get to get a search and find some spirits is kind of good, which is part of the reason I like the vanillas, because you can just plop out 2 and then you can look top 2 with this at the same turn. So it's just like cheap cost to get that search. And sometimes like in this game right now too, the search can just find you the card you need to find and get you where you need to go. So I like the idea of that. And then also for 2, when one of your spirits that costs 4 more attacks, select one of your opponent's spirits with 1k or fewer BP and destroy it. This sometimes comes up. It doesn't always come up, especially since we don't have too many 4 costs. It sometimes comes up, but it's a nice little to have, but it's fine. We also have Star Altar. During your attack, when one of your spirits with a soul core on is destroyed, select one of your spirits, place all the destroyed spirits cores onto it. This is weird, but okay. We can have some kind of access to it. It's not restricted to Star Dragons, which is kind of nice. But like I've yet to find a reason to like want to move the soul core around as much as I can. It's okay. And then the level 2, which is 3 whole cores, which is quite a chunky amount. When one of your Star Dragon spirits is blocked, you may exhaust his Nexus to refresh it. So again, having 2 is great, especially when like you can double up on Galaxy Dragon Andromedose when the spirit attacks, or Divine Help. Like again, this game does not believe in once per turns when this attacks, so that could be great. Like again, all of these can do more of their one attack stuff, but it's okay. I'm not completely set on it yet, but it's a cool little card for it. This one you can play early and you don't feel bad about it being an early Nexus. And then if you need some like late game, like this is better for like if you're playing like a going tall deck instead of a going wide list. And I'm more partial to the kind of going wide list since there's not a lot of like good board wipes for wideness. So anyways, and then lastly, I named this wrong, but it's too late in the night for me to fix it. It's Big Bang Energy. This is like the only support card for Magic we have. It's a really interesting card. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I don't know if it's good or bad. Sometimes it wins you the game. Sometimes it's just stuck in your hand and you lose because it's not a better card. So, but for main during this card, all Star Dragon Spirit cards in your hand have a cost equal to your life total. So if you have 2 life, that means that, for example, your big boy costs 2, which means you have a reduction, which means he's free. Cool, right? Like this, doesn't that sound like super good, right? However, like here's my issue. Here's my issue with it. If you're at 2 life, it means you have more cores, which means that you probably have enough cores to pay for what you needed anyways because you're already at such low life. So it's fine. I think the card, like it can go crazy. You can go off with it very nice, but it's not a 4 of because you get super clunky with it. It's like a 2 or 3 of, probably leaning to 2. Well, I'm going to be testing it more to see if I like the card, but it can just be stuck dead in your hand and then it didn't do anything because cards are kind of, card economy in this game is kind of weird. So, and then here's my example deck list as well. We don't have we don't have like we have an official deck builder and it's okay for what it is. I have feelings about it, but it's nice. It's nice to have an official deck builder in this game before it's released. So, but this is my build. We're running some white cards, and by some I mean the Absolute Ice Shield. We're going to probably talk about like just standard good cards in this deck, but Absolute Ice Shield. Not only is it standardly very, very good, but it is a card that just lets you cheat the game. So since we have an effect with our big 8-drop that lets us reset our life, we can use Absolute Ice Shield to use the effect to get down to 2 life specifically, or even 1 life if we know we're going to be able to get the combo off next turn, and then we can't take any more damage, we end the battle, and then we just go back up to 5, and then we're all sad and good and happy, right? So that's super strong. It just means we get to ramp up, and then we get to like get the ramp from taking life, and then like we just never feel in danger with this card out. So I think that's very good for this deck again, and that has some healing properties. And if you want to text some more white in to reduce your cost, you can. But I just never find an issue with that in this deck either. So and then just other general support cards that are in red. We have a Volcanic Canyon, which I think is just a really good card for just during your draw step, you get to draw 1, then discard 1. Which is great. We don't really care about how many cards in your hand. Sometimes we just need to find our combo pieces. So sometimes we just need to find a level 6, or sometimes we just need the 8. That's fine. We're also only running 3 level 8s. If you want to run 4, go for it. But you really only need it to proc once most games, and you win on the spot. So if you want to run 2, though, or 4 to help you find it, you can do that. Moonbow Dragon 3, Rain Needle 4, Quicksand Dragon 4. We also have Flamefish. Flamefish is like a stupid good card. I could probably make a video just talking about how good this card is, but it's on color. We don't have anything else in the deck that uses the Soul Core besides the 8-drop, and it just says when destroyed. If you have a Soul Core on it, you just get to pop something. So that's great. The fact that this card trades just means that it slows down your opponent from going off, and that helps us out. We also have Burning Force, which is just good for general destruction in general, and Star Blessed Draw, because this card's stupid. This is a really good card as well. Being able to just draw like 4 cards in this game is great, and being able to resolve one of these probably puts you on track to win the game. If you want the other draw card, you can do that too. You can really just never have enough card draw in a game like this. So I think that's something that's worth the attention if you want it. But that is pretty much the list for us. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you have any kind of issues with this list or any questions, please let me know. I'll probably have some gameplay of it in the near future, and let me know if any other kind of decks you want me to make a video like this for Battle Spirits. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll catch you all next time.